So we talked about using media to help us learn, like Julius Yago and his YouTube watching to help him improve his skills, and observing the actions of others to help him improve his skills. But what about the effect of TV and entertainment media on behavior? I remember my daughter, for example, watched a show where the cartoon character said stupid a lot, the word stupid a lot. My daughter started to say it, and then she would see her little brother and start to call him stupid, and then start to call other people stupid too. This, of course, was not the type of learning that my wife and I hoped for. According to some researchers, there are several organizations that have determined that excessive depictions of violence in mass media have a negative impact on us as it simulates violent behavior. But can they be right? Well, researchers collected quite strong evidence of an association between violent behavior and exposure to violent media. It turns out that as people are exposed to more violence on TV, the aggressiveness they display goes up as well. Researchers found that children in elementary school, when exposed to violent TV, increase their aggressiveness as teenagers and adults. Also, as described here, the rate of homicides have increased dramatically after television was introduced into the United States, which is indicated here by the blue line, whereas no increases in homicides were observed where television was not available or banned during the same time, indicated here by the purple line. You can see the blue and orange line goes up together, the television ownership and homicides. So does television increase violence, or do aggressive individuals find violent media more entertaining? Some of the research in this area has focused on having participants view violent images, and in one experiment, researchers would assign participants to watch a short violent film or a short non-violent film, and then observe their behavior later. Usually the researchers would observe the behavior even just a few minutes after or a few days after. They find that youth particularly show aggressiveness in play sessions immediately following the viewing of the violent film. For those that were 7 to 9-year-olds, those boys were more likely to actually physically assault each other in a hockey game after watching a violent video. Also, in one study, college men who viewed a film of violent sex were more willing to deliver electric shocks to a woman who had previously provoked them than when men who viewed just a violent film alone with no sex. Even interactive media, such as playing video games, have been examined from researchers, and this interest in the research comes from the fact that many of those individuals that go into schools and shoot them up and gun down others were avid video game players of violent games. So is there really a correlation here? This is found in the Journal of Adolescence titled An Update on the Effects of Playing Violent Video Games. Additionally, there was a report issued by the National Institute of Mental Health in the 1980s which concluded that children who continuously and repeatedly expose themselves to violent television may become less sensitive to the suffering of others, more fearful of the world around them, and it also stated more likely to behave in aggressive ways toward others. What we watch may impact how we act. Advertisers know this as well. Product developers, agencies, and corporations spend billions of dollars per year on developing and distributing commercials intended to increase our buying behaviors of a product. They don't do this by making consumers more informed. Rather, they associate the product with an attractive reward: girls, money, glamour, etc. Beer commercials often provide models, actors of celebrities drinking beer to encourage imitation or emulation. I saw a Pepsi commercial the other day. Pepsi and Coke commercials, if you watch some of those, they will highly exaggerate the outcome of drinking that particular drink, and often use famous actors. Okay, so let's talk about mirror neurons. So knowing that humans can imitate actions means that the human brain can connect visual inputs to motor outputs. This is the case. In fact, neurons that fire during the observing of an action and performing of an action are largely the same ones firing. So during the visual observation of an action of a model and during actually doing it, activate some of the same neurons as well. These are mirror neurons. It is difficult to directly observe them because you would have to have invasive surgery to record those individual neurons. But EEGs and fMRIs are used in humans to detect the regions activated, where you can see where the neurons are activated and the increased blood flow in the fMRIs. To examine these mirror neurons, researchers may ask participants to observe an image of someone moving a certain finger, for example, then ask them to imitate, the participants to imitate that finger movement. Researchers find that when participants were watching the finger movement and then initiating the finger movement in a certain way, it activated the same area of the observer's brain, of the participant's brain, while observing and replicating such behavior, as you can see here in this image. Many studies, as I mentioned in monkeys, have shown that when a monkey performs an action and when it observes an action, activates mirror neurons in the same way, and this is presumed to be the same case with humans. So researchers hypothesize that it is these mirror neurons that become active as a basic mechanism for simple learning. And in fact, they also find that deficits in mirror neurons or problems with proper functioning of mirror neurons may cause some developmental disorders.